is shut off the live chat, and it takes me a minute also. All right, we've got, let me turn the record on. Preston Emmerich, Mr. Graber, and Jennifer Taylor. Also joining us is Daniel Frazine from the prosecutor's office, from the probation department. Deborah Davis and Autumn Kiefer from the probation department. What did I do with Mr. Emmerich? There he is. All right, well, the only person with counsel that's presently here is Mr. Graber. Attorney Daniel Groh is here. Here comes Paul Gibson. We'll do him next. Good morning, Mr. Groh.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Mr. Graber.
Good morning, sir.
This is the time and date for sentencing on a charge of impaired driving. This is file 21542SD. Defendant was charged with operating while intoxicated. The matter was reduced to a charge of impaired driving, and the matter is set for sentencing this morning. We'll start with you, Mr. Groh. What would you like us to know?
Well, Your Honor, in reviewing the district court operating while intoxicated guidelines, I just wanted to note two things. That factor 6 was scored for open intoxicants in the vehicle. There were definitely unopened beers, and it's my understanding from the police report there were empty beer cans, but I'm not aware of any beer that was, say, in the process of being drank or half drank beers, that type of a thing.
Well, the report said he had a Michelob Ultra in the front seat, and I was a little taken aback. Most of the Amish kids drink Bud Light, but then in the back was a case of Bud Light. So I think the Michelob Ultra was the one that they alleged was open, but
it was, but it was also crushed, according to the police report.
All right, well, that doesn't sound like something you're going to drink immediately out of.
And like I can't frankly, argue that that factor should not be scored, but I think that there was not. I'm not going to say any more than what I've said, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right.
And then, can I continue?
Yes, please.
All right. And then when I read the report by Officer Franzine, Daniel Franzine, is that how you say it? Frazine. I read it and I contacted my client because I had some concerns. It kind of seemed like the interview had gone sideways a little bit, and it seemed inconsistent with my prior conversations with Laverne. I would just note that he is an extraordinarily industrious young man, not only doing his job at the RV, but he's doing this logging job where he's actually one of the co-owners of the company. And from what he's told me, the job is, or that career of his essentially is going well, that's taking over more and more over for what he's doing at the RV thing. And I just think that level of initiative is something that we don't always see in young people. So I think that's got to be one of his strongest attributes. But we did talk about how the interview seemingly kind of went sideways, And I think he was just very concerned that he'd have to go to meetings every single day. And that if he went to meetings every single day and classes every single day, and having two jobs, that would put him in a position where he might not meet one of the court's obligations. And I told him that he's not going to be going to meetings every single day, and that the probation department will work with his employment and make sure he's able to be successful in probation. And I'm 100% confident that he's going to prove to the court that he can be completely successful in probation. And I think his comments about not having a problem with alcohol, I guess if you get pulled over or are found by the police after consuming alcohol, you have an alcohol problem. There's no question about it. So he has an alcohol problem, and he has had police contact. So obviously he needs to address that, and he knows that is something that's critical to the safety of our community and his success going forward. And I think he is 100% ready to address any issues that he has with alcohol. So I just think that Laverne has an interesting personality, and I think the way he reacted to the questions might have sent the interview sideways. But I think if Your Honor has an opportunity, if Your Honor had an opportunity to spend some time with him, I think you would find him, everything about his attitude is generous, honest, open, and direct. And I was just a little bit surprised by how the interview went sideways.
All right, Deborah, anything you wish to add?
Well, I certainly can appreciate his attorney's assessment and explaining a little bit more about his client's background. I guess it's not uncommon for those of the Amish faith, when they finish school at 8th grade, they grow up pretty quickly. So the fact that he's in the workforce and doing adult things maybe is giving him the false sense of entitlement to consume alcohol as an adult. But he's not 21 yet. He's got a couple years to go. And I am a little concerned about how he reacted to the probation officer's questions about testing or not drinking alcohol, that sort of thing. It sounds like he was regularly drinking and, maybe responsibly drinking, I guess I'll say, if it's only 2 or 3 beers 2 times a month. But again, he's not 21 yet. The law is 21 and older. And so if he's willing to do the probation, I think he should be given the opportunity to do that instead of just simply putting him in jail for a few weekends or something. I think it would be a better option to have him complete the probation and continue working, that sort of thing. Thank you, Your Honor.
Daniel, anything you wish to add?
No, I think Ms. Davis articulated my thoughts pretty clearly and concisely.
All right, thank you. Thank you for your report. Mr. Graber, anything you want to tell me?
I just want to apologize for everything and just whatever you give me, I'm just going to try to take it and do it, I guess.
All right, that's a good attitude. I've been here for a long time, a little more than 40 years, and in my experience, the Amish kids really aren't any different than any other kids, except the Amish kids all drink Bud Light, but they're always polite, respectful. There's the whole Rumspringa aspect to this, where people are, as young people, they decide to join the church or not. But you're not doing anything different than the non-Amish kids are doing before they turn 21. You were quite intoxicated. Fortunately, you didn't hurt yourself or someone else. I don't know that you have some terrible incipient drug and alcohol addiction. You live in Indiana and you work 2 jobs. You got no criminal record. You're polite, respectful. I'm going to do an old-fashioned sentence. You live in Howell. You're not a Michigan resident. I don't see the need to put you on probation. You're going to do this again or you're not. You're going to get the old-fashioned 1 day sober and 1 day drunk. 2 days credit 1 day, leaving 1 day to serve, which will be served on Friday night. We'll start that at 7 p.m. on this Friday, June 11th. There's a $300 fine, a $75 crime victims' rights fee, a $50 state minimum fee, a $100 screening fee. Is there a police reimbursement here, Daniel?
No, I didn't notice that there was one requested.
Yeah, you
I
got
recommended.
120 to St. Joe County. I'm not even gonna do the victim impact panel. Let's add this up. 300 plus 75 plus 50 plus 100 plus 120 is 645. There's no bond here. Laverne, can you pay that by the end of July?
I can pay it today if you want me to.
All right, I'll make it due by the end of June, by June 30th. In my experience, the Amish kids are always ready and able to pay their fines. You gotta do one day in jail, maybe Friday, you can come either bring the cash or send in a certified check or money order. And that's it. Your license will be restricted in Michigan. I'm not sure what they'll do to it in Indiana. Impaired driving allows you to keep a restricted license to drive back and forth to and in the course of employment. My sense of this is I'm not going to see you again. And that would be fine with me. Many of the drunk drivers I get, one lasts a lifetime, and hopefully that's the case here. You didn't hurt yourself, you didn't hurt anybody else. Consider that good fortune. Come to the jail here in Centerville at 7 o'clock this Friday night. You'll get out at 7 o'clock Saturday night, and then you pay the fine. The matter will be over with. Do you have any questions?
No.
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, if you have any, get a hold of your attorney and he'll contact us.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Oops, I don't want to remove Deborah Davis. All right, Mr. Emmerich, are you still there with us? We have Preston Emmerich, Jennifer Taylor, and I have Giselle Conrad. I don't have Miss Bivens. I'm hoping this is her. Ms. Conrad, what case are you here on?
That might be a name that's stuck on there from a previous person that logged in.
Is that you, Miss Bivens?
Yes.
Oh, all right. Somebody changed the name. I guess Rob did. I just looted a conference room. All right, just stay where you are. We're going to do Mr. Knopfinger's case, Preston Emmerich, next. And then we'll do Jennifer Taylor, although we haven't had much success communicating with her. She is here now. Mr. Emmerich, would you turn your camera back on? Good morning, Luke.
Morning.
Mr. Emmerich?
Uh-oh.
Mr. Emmerich? He's scruffling around. We did have a connection. Well, let's see if we can get Miss. Oh, there it is. Mr. Emmerich, can you hear me? We don't have a very good one. Mr. Emmerich, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Could you speak up?
I'll try as much as I can. I think my microphone is a little bit broken.
Okay. Well, this is the time and date for your sentencing on a charge of domestic violence. You were charged with domestic violence second offense. You entered a plea to domestic violence first offense. The matter was set for sentencing here this morning. I did have an opportunity to review the police report and the victim impact statement from the complaining witness. Mr. Knopfinger, what would you like me to know?
Well, I'd just like to add a couple different things. Preston was unemployed since the pandemic started in April of last year. This occurred in September of last year. He's now going on his fourth week of being employed at Bell Tire in South Bend. He still lives in Mendon. He's thinking of moving to South Bend when he's employed. But I'm aware of 2 days of jail that he's done already. His suspicion is that being unemployed, having cabin fever, being stuck in may have led to a lot of what happened that day. I'd ask the court to credit him the 2 days of jail time and consider a term of probation.
Deborah, do you have a thought on this?
Well, he doesn't have a very long history, but there are some domestic issues in his past, and certainly the ideal is to rehabilitate so he doesn't have these outbursts or angry reactions or whatever you want to call it. As far as the severity of it, there is some question as to what exactly happened. We've reached out to the victim, our victim advocate, multiple times. She was active at the beginning of this case, but then has kind of fallen off the radar. We haven't had any contact with her, so I'm not sure what her thoughts are at this point, but I would leave it then to the court's discretion about the sentencing portion of this. Thank you.
Mr. Emmerich, is there anything you'd like to tell me?
Sir, I'm extremely sorry about what happened, and I know that I've done this sort of thing in my past, and I don't want to continue doing the same sort of thing, and I didn't mean to cause harm or hurt anybody, and I don't wish to continue doing things like this.
Yeah, well, you were fighting over a cell phone. And people saw it out on the street. I'm looking for that victim impact notice. Here it is. Preston Emmerich maliciously punched me in my left arm, which did not require medical attention. He dug his nails into my right wrist and left a mark. And then she doesn't really say anything else. Do you still have any relationship with Ms. Boyd?
Yes, sir, I maintain, but I have obviously been ordered not to contact with her.
Yeah, always since September. Mendon's not a very big town. How do you stay away from each other?
She lives in Kalamazoo.
All right. When I saw you last year, you had some trouble with your driver's license. Do you have your driving privileges squared away?
Yes, sir.
So you're able to, Mendon to South Bend every day is a long way to go for work. You're making a commute every day?
Yes, sir. It's not entirely that long. My father commuted from Vicksburg to South Bend every day for several years.
Well, I wouldn't want to do it, but I guess it's probably an hour and a half each way. All right. Well, he punched her or socked her in the arm. He scratched her. because he was trying to get this phone. He got arrested, it got dismissed, then he missed some hearings. We did a show cause. Things kind of went haywire. Although this happened after the worst part of COVID. This happened last September. And it's so long delayed because the defendant fell off the radar. So he got arrested. The prosecutor declined to authorize it back in September of 2020. Then later, they authorized a complaint. So he got arrested, let go because the prosecutor declined to authorize. Then later, they did authorize, so now he's got to get arrested on something he's already arrested on. And we had a series of no-shows. Boy, he missed a bunch of hearings. Finally got picked up on a bench warrant. Although I think Luke called ran interference for him when we called the bench warrant. God, it looks like you missed like 7 different court dates. Yeah, he got arrested again in February. So he did 1 day at the front end, 1 day in February. Then he missed some other days. She's gone. I think I have $500 of bond. Let me see. Yes, we have $500 of bond. 2 days jail credit, 2 days. There's a $75 crime victims' rights fee, $50 state minimum fee, and a $150 attorney fee. $100 fine and a $125 restitution. To Tiana Boyd. It's $500. Mr. Emmerich, I gave you credit for the time you served in jail. I didn't order a probation. I think you should move to South Bend, closer to your job. This happened a year ago. You got arrested. They let you out of jail, then they re-arrested you. There's been no contact. We've lost track of her. She's moved to Kalamazoo. You're there. And we'll call it good. All right, this matter is completed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Taylor?
For Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Bivens will be here with you in just a moment. This is file 21604 SD, People versus Jennifer Elizabeth Taylor. I think this is a plea screen and sentence, so we have to take the plea.
I would like to, if I could, have a side meeting with my attorney first.
Okay. Well, let me talk a little bit about this. This is file 21604. You did a crappy job of contacting the probation officer, and she's just recommending 90 days in jail, thinking that you're not a good probation risk. So that certainly could be altered, but she made multiple attempts to contact you for the screening process and you didn't do it. And so now you showed up for screening and sentencing. So I'll put you in a breakout room, and that's certainly a legitimate request, so you can discuss this directly with your attorney, Mr. Gibson.
Okay, I'm still in Fort Wayne. I just got myself a phone. I've just reached full-time employment. I'm in a Oxford recovery house here.
All right, well, share that with Mr. Gibson. I'm interested to hear more about that.
Okay.
All right. Miss Bivens, we're gonna take up your case now.
Okay. And it's Nicole, not Karen.
Oh, yes, Nicole Bivens. Karen Bivens is someone else.
Yes.
So let me change it. Nicole Elizabeth. All right, this is the time and date for sentencing on a charge of animal cruelty, I believe 2 counts. This is a terrible situation where last January you were gone and you left your dogs over a dog freezing to death and starving to death at your house on Grant Avenue. I watched the video of this. It's painful to watch it. And then we've had a very difficult time getting you here. So I'm not sure what to do here. I thought about locking you outside in January for a couple of days with no food or water and see how you like it. Ms. Davis, is there anything you wish to say?
Your Honor, APA Johnson handled this case from the beginning, so I did ask him prior to this what his thoughts were, and he would like to see some large amount of community service assessed, as well as her to be prohibited from owning any animals in the future. He's very concerned about just leaving this poor dog in the condition that it was. There's also restitution requested because the dog did receive medical treatment. I believe it's $500.38 for the vet bill, which was paid on behalf of the defendant so that the dog could be treated. And so the agency's asking to have that paid back.
Who is that?
I believe it's Three Rivers PD, but let me see who paid that bill. It says paid in full by the city, so I guess City of Three Rivers.
All right. Ms. Bivens, what would you like me to know?
I didn't mean for this to happen. Like I said, I didn't have heat, electric, gas for years. I just got my electric turned on. I was trying to find him a good place to go. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. I'm just glad he's okay.
Where is the dog now?
I believe the dog was forfeited. I'm not sure if it was adopted out then or where it went.
That's what I understood. Ms. Bivens, where are you now?
What do you mean?
Where are you living? Are you back at?
Same house, but my mom finally paid my electric bill, and I got a job at Little Caesars a week ago, so I'm now starting to make money.
Do you have a car?
No.
So you just walk over the Peeler Street Bridge?
Yep. Yes, I do.
It's really not all that far. Did you inherit this house?
My parents actually bought it for me like 11 years ago. And I lost my job with the paper and it just went downhill from there like 5 years ago.
You were struggling, to be sure, but this dog certainly didn't deserve this.
Oh, I agree.
Did you see the pictures?
No.
I ought to make you look at them. I'm gonna make you look at them. I'm gonna put you on probation for 6 months. Gonna waive the fines and costs. $75 crime victims' rights fee, $50 state minimum fee. Gonna waive the probation oversight fee. $500 restitution to the city of Three Rivers. They'll have to eat the 38 cents. I'm gonna order 40 hours of community service, which you will have to pay for,
Okay.
or 10 days in jail. We used to have people do community service at animal control, but they don't really want people that are convicted of animal cruelty to be doing community service and animal control. It may not own any animals during the term of this probation. That adds up to $625. Plus it'll be $120 for 40 hours of community service, give or take. I'm gonna refer you to the probation department. We've had trouble getting a hold of you. Seems to me I tried to call you on one of the earlier dates that you had missed.
Oh, they might not have my number. I had to change it because my ex-wife, well, my soon-to-be ex-wife's kind of stalking me. So.
Yes.
Is that Karen then? Okay.
Is that what?
Karen, the other lady. There's
Yeah, that's why I got it mixed up.
Okay.
I have a relative named Bivens. My grandmother's sister was a Bivens, and we've already established that Karen and I are not related, so we're not related. You and I aren't related either. Anyway, I want you to provide your phone number to the court.
Okay.
How long have you been at Little Caesars?
A week.
Well, that's a start. All right, you're gonna have to do 40 hours community service and pay $625 and not own any animals in the meantime.
Okay.
And Karen is gone?
Yes, she lives in Napoleon.
For some reason, I thought that was her house. I didn't realize it was your house. All right, you're free to go.
Okay, thank you.
In fact, go right out to the counter and give the ladies your telephone number, all right?
Okay.
All right.
Your Honor, I don't have Jennifer Taylor in my queue. And did you say she has not done her PSI yet?
Well, she was supposed to be plea screen and sentencing. Autumn wrote quite a scathing report. Autumn, why don't you send that to Debbie? I had another dog case today also.
Security.
Oh, security. Someone was here who was quite upset. I could hear him.
Yeah, we took her into custody. She's up in jail now.
Who is it?
Jennifer Conrad. She's got a felony warrant for you guys.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah, she was in probate court at a trial, and then I don't know what happened to her. She got out, and then she flipped out on Marty.
Tell Marty he should be nice to people.
He tried.
He always tries. All right,
I
I just wanted to make sure it wasn't somebody I was looking for. Thanks.
No, no
Bye.
problem. Bye.
No, I thought maybe it was a lady on my dog case that didn't show up and showed up later, but apparently that was someone else that you must have upset. Marty's about as nice as you can get. He treats everybody with respect. And so she must have gone some to get a free ride. All right, so we've got Jennifer. Did you get that report?
Yeah.
All right, we'll close the room. Paul is back. Autumn is back. As I recall, Jennifer was in a treatment facility, and maybe we'll hear more about that. Maybe that's also why she wasn't able to contact the probation department. Ms. Taylor, could you come back to us, please?
Here, Your Honor.
All right, good morning. We return to file 21604SD. This is the time and date for a plea and sentence on a charge of impaired driving. I do recall talking with Jennifer about going into some inpatient program in or near Fort Wayne. And so the first thing we have to decide is whether you're going to enter the plea to impaired driving. Let me explain that. Impaired driving is a misdemeanor. It's punishable by up to 93 days in jail and a fine of up to $500. It carries 4 points on your driving record, and it requires that your driver's license be restricted rather than suspended. That's a lesser charge of operating while intoxicated. That requires that your license be suspended, no driving at all, 6 points and a fine of up to $500. So the lesser charge is impaired driving. Is it your intention to here today to plead to impaired driving?
Yes.
Mr. Gibson, have you discussed that with your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, well, let's talk about that. Did anyone promise you anything to get you to plead to that?
I'm sorry?
Did anyone promise you anything to get you to plead to it?
No.
Or threaten you?
No.
Do you understand that if you plead to this charge, you'll be giving up your right to have a trial in front of a judge or jury? There will be no trial. Do you understand that?
Yes.
If you had a trial, you'd have a right to have any of the witnesses for or against you subpoenaed to come to court so they could be questioned under oath. You would have the right to take the witness stand yourself and testify, but you don't have to because you have a right not to testify. And if you did not wish to testify, the judge or jury cannot hold your silence against you. And finally, you have the right to be presumed innocent if and until the state was able to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Understand?
Yes.
Now, there is a wrinkle in here. I think you refused the preliminary breath test, or the breath test, and so there could be a suspension associated with that I'm not advising you of, but absent that, impaired driving allows a restricted license. Were you driving a car here in St. Joe County on March 21st?
I was parked around the corner from my home, so I wasn't physically driving, but the car was running.
All right, where had you been?
I had pulled out of the driveway of my home to repark the vehicle.
All right. What were you drinking?
I had beer and I think Fireball whiskey.
Occurred at lane 3 of 25039 US 12. Is that at Memory Lane Mobile Home Park?
It is.
I think you told me this. And so you moved a little bit in the mobile home park?
Yes.
All right. That is sufficient. It's a place that's open to the public. Then after some rigmarole, they took your blood and the result was 0.139. You accept that?
Yes.
I think it was a 134. Autumn, do you have that handy?
It was a 139 according to the tox result.
Okay.
All right, so the question now is, what do we do? Autumn was frustrated because she couldn't reach her. I'm thinking perhaps now that we've taken the plea, we can set the matter for sentencing when we get a little more residential treatment. Ms. Taylor, where are you right now?
So I'm in Fort Wayne. After I do have proof, I have a completion certificate for inpatient with Avenues Recovery. I did, my sobriety date is April 20th. I did a 30-day inpatient there. And then from there, I'm in the Oxford Galileo Recovery Home for Women. I've just gained full-time employment through Walgreens Pharmacy. I do 5 outside meetings a week for recovery, as well as an IOP program.
Your Honor, the defendant has done a good job explaining what she's done, and I would note that I did receive a letter from Avenues Recovery Community, Terry Haywood, back on May 4th, and they had indicated that she was at the facility and that she had been in that residential program since April 21st. And it just indicates that, you know, as of that date, she was still there on May 4th. And she indicates to me that she does have a certificate shows that she completed the program.
And obviously, Autumn, if you'd known all that information, that would have affected your recommendation here.
Correct. Nothing has been forwarded to the court for the court to even know that the defendant has been in any type of inpatient rehab. It just stated that she was to be released possibly May 20th, but the court has nothing. So releases should be signed for the court, and preferably for Attorney Gibson to forward any information that he has for the defendant to the court, so the court could have been updated on that. I have tried several times via the phone number that was left for the court. I have sent contact notices to the last known address for the defendant, and nothing has been returned in this case. And frankly, if she's doing everything she would do on a probationary period, I don't foresee any reason to have her on a probation later at a point in time.
Ms. Taylor, did we also have a landlord-tenant case?
We did when I came out of the inpatient treatment. I had resolved the issue
that's
of the
when
trailer.
that's when you told me all this stuff. And
yeah.
In case of the right hand, I put all the notes in the civil file, but I didn't transfer any of that to Autumn. And I was frankly impressed. You were saying, all right, I'm going to end this tenancy. I'm going to get out of here. I know I've got an alcohol problem. I'm going to set my life on hold for a minute while I deal with the alcohol problem. And it sounds to me like that's what you've been doing since I last talked to you. And I certainly would like to give you the benefit of that. And as Autumn said, if you're doing all this stuff, there may not be any sense of, you're already doing everything we would order you to do on probation and more. So how long of a stay are you expecting at Oxford Recovery?
Well, with Oxford, I can stay up to 6 months. I start, like I said, with Walgreens. I just got hired into their pharmacy education program, an apprenticeship for a technician. So I do start that on Monday. And that's going to be full-time employment. I also, I do have with the Oxford House, I told Mr. Gibson, I can receive mail there. And I did update, I've only had this phone for a couple of days. I mean, I really, at 40 years old, I need to take responsibility for my own recovery. While I was in treatment, I lost my best friend May 8th to addiction, as well as the 1-year anniversary of my younger brother's death to addiction. So I do have children, and they deserve to have a mother in recovery. So I really don't have an option to go backwards with this. My life has changed drastically since recovery started.
What I would like to do is I'd like you to get a release to Mr. Gibson and Mr. Gibson to get it to us.
Okay.
I see people go like this, hit bottom, then I see them start to go back up. And I enjoy watching people climb out of the pit. And that looks to me like what you're trying to do. And you were pretty upfront about it in that landlord-tenant proceeding. So we're gonna get a release so we can get that information. At this point, I'm not, if everything bears out of what you're saying, there's no reason to put you on a probation. So let's reset this for sentencing for June 28th.
Okay. Now, Your Honor, I won't necessarily need a release because when I did leave the Avenues program, I have a letter for the courts that I'm going to submit to Mr. Gibson, as well as a completion certificate. And then in the meantime, I'm going to have meetings with the meetings that I do attend. I'm going to have a meeting sheet signed by the facilitators and the recovery meetings I go to. So by the 27th, I'll have that documentation as well.
28th.
28th.
That's a Monday.
At what time, Your Honor?
11. Does that work for you, Paul?
Yes, I believe so, yes.
All right, Ms. Taylor, in Autumn, I did know some of the things she was telling me, but it was the context of a civil case, and I didn't have the presence of mind to put the notes in the criminal case also.
Is there a release that the probation department has that I could send to her, is there not anything like that?
No, she just needs to sign a release for the court, and the probation department is under that.
Yeah, but
where do I get the release from, I guess, is there a specific release that, like a form?
Her facility has a release. If she lets them know she needs to sign a release for the court to receive documentation, they will provide that to her. Okay. We don't necessarily have one for us. They have one for themselves.
Yeah, they're specific to the program, but almost any program that runs any services, they're confidential, and every program. And so we always get a release where the defendant allows us to get that treatment information. In this case, I think it's all going to be good news. All right, Ms. Taylor, it will be virtual once again. Okay. And I will see you on Monday, the 28th at 11 o'clock.
All right, thank you very much, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. All right. I do have another person I want to see, but I think it's lunchtime at the jail. Maybe I'll see if they can get him in here. All right, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Hi, are you guys done with lunch?
We were just passing lunch.
All right, I'll try after lunch. I don't want to disrupt that. I need to see a guy, but I'll wait till after lunch.
Who do you need to see tonight?
Dennis Bauman.
Oh, Dennis, okay. Perfect. We'll get him around and make him take a straight out there if you want.
No, I'll call back after lunch. Right. I heard you having prime rib and lobster today, and so
you know that.
I don't want to interrupt that.
There's the nice cheese rolls from Red Lobster, too. We got those, too.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Bye. All right, we'll begin again after the lunch.